What's up, everybody? Thanks again for joining me this week on our next episode of In the Pink. And if you are not familiar with what that term means, that was a term coined way back in the 1500s, before pink was even a color, and it had to do with wishing someone their optimum health and happiness. So this week we are going to talk about gut health, and we are filling in that blank with cancer. But as always, we're always going to start out with a what we know. So my first what we know that our gut microbiome basically controls both our physical biochemistry and our mental biochemistry. So think on this, it is ginormous. They estimate between 90 and 100 trillion gut bacteria live in our bodies. And that outnumbers our human cells like 13 to 1. And because of that, these microbes make about 3 times as many proteins and enzymes and chemical compounds that our bodies need to function. And my next what we know that when our gut microbiome gets sick, we also get sick. And what I mean by that, when we start to lose good strains of bacteria in our gut and replace them with bad bacterial strains in our gut, even 5 days on a course of antibiotics is going to start to degrade the good bacteria in our gut. It can happen that fast. And my last what we know that our immune system is produced in response to our gut microbiome. And these good bacteria in our gut are responsible for making some vitamins that our body needs, vitamin B's, vitamin K. It also makes glutathione and melatonin and dopamine and even serotonin. Our gut microbiome also makes short chain esters. And even with these few things that I just covered, these play a role in DNA replication, in keeping our bones strong, in keeping our brain functioning, and our blood glucose levels stable, and our cholesterol levels stable, and even controlling cellular inflammation in our bodies. It's a big deal. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to the gut's role in all this. Well, more and more studies are being done by more and more experts showing this definitive link between our gut microbiome and the health of it and cancers. So let's start with colorectal cancer. We already know that if we have an unhealthy gut, we're going to be more likely to develop gut disorders or diseases. So it only makes sense that cancer can be part of that. Now let's look at a quick case in point. There was a study done in Europe, the SINCAN study. And it showed people that have colon cancer have a less diverse microbiome and they have less volume of good gut bacteria. And the bacteria that they do have in their gut feature more harmful strains, Fusobacterium being one of them. But not only this higher prevalence of this Fusobacterium, but they had lower levels of a good bacteria strain, Clostridium. And we know that this Clostridium plays a role in helping to maintain healthy blood glucose levels. Now, isn't this interesting? There was a study done in 2016 at Harvard showing that antibiotics given to kids can also cause them to lose blood sugar control. But let's back it up even to 2009, where there was a study done at Johns Hopkins. And this one showed that glucose starvation can even restrict colorectal cancer growth. Well, a second study showed that treating or patients that were on metformin, which is a blood sugar stability drug, could increase survival rates. It is crazy how everything is interconnected. But let's get back to the SINCAN study. That study also showed that patients who took probiotics on a daily basis reduced their risk of colorectal cancer. All right, let's move on. Pancreatic cancer, and they showed that that is because it's linked to oral health, and we know that we also have a microbiome going on in our mouth. Next one, esophageal and liver cancers have connections. Prostate cancer because it's linked to inflammatory bacteria. Brain cancer, stomach cancer, bile duct cancer, bladder cancer. lung cancer, ovarian cancer, and even breast cancer, which is another biggie. So let's cover this one in a little bit more depth. There was a study done in 2014 up in Canada by a doctor who was bent on finding this connection between breast cancers and the gut microbiome. And he was basing this study on the fact that when moms breastfeed their babies, they're passing their microbiome onto their children, but yet mom benefits from this breastfeeding as well, that her microbiome is strengthened. And he wanted to know why. And lo and behold, this Dr. Reed from Canada and his assistant found that the breasts have their own microbiome. And then there was a much bigger study done in 2016 showing that there was a distinct microbial stamp associated with each type of breast cancer even. And women with breast cancer had higher levels of E. coli and higher levels of Staphylococcus epidermidis. And not only that, but not surprisingly, in healthy breast tissue, their levels of lactobacillus and streptococcus were higher, and those are beneficial bacteria rather than pathogenic. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to another point of how studies are showing that microbes present in our bodies not only boost our immune system, but they also can be efficacious when it comes to cancer treatments. And this is nothing new. There was a study done back in 1951, a Dr. Joseph Issels out of Germany. And he was using this as part of some early immunotherapy treatment. And he was dubbed a kind of a quack at that time. But now probiotic supplements are actually being used as a treatment because they improve the effectiveness of chemotherapy drugs and even new cancer immunotherapy treatments. Okay, now let's look at a study, another study done in mice. And this one was going out to show the effectiveness of certain cancer treatments, possibly depending on the microbes that we have in our gut. So this study was conducted on both germ-free mice and then regular mice. But these regular mice had been treated with antibiotics in their water for about 3 weeks prior to this study beginning. And then what the scientists done is they took lymphoma cells, colon cancer cells, and melanoma cells, and they injected into both of these sets of mice. And lo and behold, these mice developed tumors, and these tumors continued to grow. And then the tumors were treated either with this immunotherapy or with chemotherapy. And this immunotherapy is based on the immune system attacking these cancer cells, while chemotherapy, those drugs directly damage these tumors. And what they found is that these tumors did not respond well to either the immunotherapy or the chemotherapy in both sets of mice. So what they were able to validate is that yes, antibiotics affect our gut microbiome, and that affects how our body can fight off disease. And they were even bold enough to say that after this study was done, it confirmed their theory that after antibiotic use, the gut never fully recovers from that therapy. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to some healthy practices, some things that we can be doing on a daily basis to improve our health picture. Well, first and foremost, I'm always gonna start with diet. Eating healthy food. Need I say it again and louder maybe? Eating from the outside aisles of your market. A colorful diet full of vegetables that are rich in phytonutrients. But not only that, healthy fats, olive oil, fish, and even berries. Stay away from processed food. Steer clear of additional sugars in your diets. All of these are detrimental to our gut microbiome. And the next thing, eliminate antibiotic courses that are not absolutely necessary. And what I mean by that, now my personal opinion, but if you're using antibiotics on a regular daily basis to treat things like acne is gut related. We already know that. It is not worth sacrificing your gut microbiome in this instance, in my opinion. The next thing, decrease stress. We know how stress is detrimental for our bodies to function properly, and it ties into everything. And lastly, consider supplementation. And I mean supplementing with good prebiotics, with good probiotics, with antioxidants, with polyphenols, with supplements that your body can use and knows what to do with, that are bioavailable. Which leads me into the best part. Let's talk Plexus and how Plexus can play a role in your health picture. Well, first and foremost, I'm always going to pitch the TRIPLEX. So it is our Slim, the pink drink, the PROBIO 5, and the BIOCLEANSE. And if you were listening at all today, hopefully you picked up on how important blood sugar stability is, how important gut health is, and how important inflammation is in our bodies. It just so happens the Slim, which is the cornerstone product, tackles all of these. And of course, the PROBIO 5 gets in there and plants good bacteria. But not only that, it also goes in there with an enzyme blend to start weeding out the bad stuff, the pathogens. And of course, the BIOCLEANSE is a fantastic magnesium supplement that keeps all the yuck moving through our body, so we can eliminate that on a daily basis. And the next one, VITALBIOME. I'd be amiss if I didn't talk about diversifying your gut and increasing the strains of gut bacteria that we have in our gut. The next one, let's touch on the X Factor vitamins. Fantastic bioavailable vitamins that your body knows what to do with. Our body does not need to convert any of these vitamins for our body to absorb them. That is the difference. And the next one, Ease capsules. Fantastic for keeping our bodies depuffed, if you know what I'm talking about. And the last thing, the greens, fermented fruits and vegetables. It's gonna help us get into our diets what we are lacking from our diets. Do you know what I'm saying? All right, you guys, thanks so much for hanging with me till the very end. And if you are new to this Plexus train and have no idea what I am talking about, I'm gonna list in that description box my link. Get on there, nose around, ask me some questions. Curiosity will get you on this train every time. I'm also gonna list in that description box some videos I've done in the past with some quick, easy links to playlists and the products that we've talked about today. Our current playlist is gonna be right up here, so if you wanna catch a few more episodes, and you might just wanna join me here again next week, because what happens in the gut does not stay in the gut. It affects everything, which is gonna lead into many more episodes of In the Pink.